Yeah. Hello, students. Welcome back to another session of physics. We are dealing with fluids, or that is mechanical properties of fluids, 11th chapter. So, in this class, we will be sticking to these things. That is some important parts of second part of mechanical properties of fluids. In that, we are going to learn first about viscosity and the definition of viscosity. Then, what do we mean by viscous force? Then, the things associated with the viscosity in the form of coefficient of viscosity. And secondly, we'll be learning about Stokes law followed by the terminal velocity. These two things we are going to learn under one more topic. And third thing what you are going to learn is that Reynolds number, which is denoted by letter capital R, and Reynolds is the name of the scientist, what formula he gave. First and foremost important thing is that we'll be learning only the outline part of these things. We are going to get only formulas and the concept behind that, basic concept behind that, but not the derivation of those formulas. Like in Venturi meter, you have seen the derivation, and like in Torricelli's law, you have seen the derivation of some formula. But in this case, only some concept, basic terminologies, outline, brief outline you are going to check. Derivations is out of context of this level. This is not the stage to understand the derivations. Those derivations will be introduced depending upon the branch you choose in your engineering classes. When you go to your engineering, if your branch have this subject, then the derivations of this will be taken in detailed analysis. In this class, you should be able to only understand the formula and the concept, what is behind it, what is the concept behind this formula. Is that point clear? If it is clear, we'll now go ahead with this concept. So the first one is viscosity. Let me just brief up what is the meaning of viscosity. Viscosity is same as that of friction. Viscosity is same as that of friction. What is friction? What is friction? Friction is a opposing force acting on a body when body is about to move on some kind of the surface. If two surfaces are in contact with each other, this is one surface in contact with this surface, and at the point of contact of both the bodies, body 1, body 2, at the point of contact of both the bodies, when the body is about to move in one direction from the other body, it is going to get some kind of opposing force. That opposing force acting on the body is called as frictional force. Yes or no? Frictional force is the opposing acting on the body due to the other surface at the point of contact in the opposite direction. And that force what acts on this body is called as frictional force. Now, what all the things we have in terms of frictional force? Same thing, if it is applicable to a fluid, then it is called as viscosity. Friction is the earlier concept for a solid, whereas the same concept of friction for a solid is replaced by viscosity for fluids. What is the difference in solid and fluid? Or viscosity is the thing which is present with the fluid. We are dealing with fluids. We are dealing up with fluids. Accordingly, for a fluid, it is going to get some kind of opposition. What is viscosity now? Viscosity is the opposition offered on the fluid due to the free flow of its motion due to the surface of another body. Fluid moves in some flow tube, right? Where does fluid goes? Fluid always travels in a flow tube. Wherever it goes, it is said to be moving in some kind of a fluid tube. Maybe a river, maybe in a chamber, maybe in the water pipe, what we have, fluid is moving. Now, what is that we are saying? To this flow of the fluid, there is some kind of opposition offered by the walls of the container, walls of the flow tube. Is there any opposition or not? If you take water in a pipe, it goes in one way. If you take oil in a pipe, it goes in some way. If you take honey in a pipe, the same pipe, it goes in some other. What is happening now? The path followed by these three different fluids is different because of some kind of parameters associated with the fluid. Fluid itself has some parameter associated with that, and that parameter is making that one to go like that. And this opposition what that fluid is getting from the walls of the container is called as what? Viscosity. What it is called as? Viscosity. That force, how much it is getting, is called as viscous force. We know drag force, we know spring force, we know Mechanical force, we know different kinds of force, gravitational force. Now one more kind of a force called as viscous force. What is viscous force now? Viscous force is the opposition offered on the fluid to its free flow due to the walls or due to the other surface. Where it is moving, from that it is going to get some kind of opposition. That kind of opposing force acting on this fluid is called as viscous force. Is the basic concept clear? Viscosity is the concept, and the force what is getting because of this viscosity is called as viscous force. Up to here, is that point? Are the points clear up to here? Are the points clear up to here? I want to hear from you. Are the points clear up to here? One second. Right. Clear. Yeah, it's simple thing. It's simple thing. We are just enlarging or trying to understand in a thorough manner. That's it. Now, likewise, a solid have opposing force to its free flow. Liquid will also have, or fluids, both gases will also have. Fluid means what? Both gas and liquid together, right? Fluids will also have some kind of opposition to their free flow due to the walls of the container. Usually we say due to the walls of the container, and that opposition, that this phenomena is called as viscosity. Having this kind of opposition on one fluid because of the other surface is called as viscosity, and the exact amount of force what it gets because of that walls of the container is called as viscous force. Now I said the example of three different kinds of liquids. What are they? Water, oil and honey. All these three will not flow in the same form in a same container. Simple thing. All these three will not flow in the same form in the same container. Now one fluid is going in one particular, water goes in one form, oil goes in one form, honey goes in another form. That internal property of the fluid is the thing what we call it as coefficient of viscosity. It is depending upon the coefficient of viscosity, the fluid will have its ability to move. Means coefficient of viscosity is the parameter associated with the fluid. Water has got some coefficient of viscosity with that. Because of that value, it goes in one form. Since oil has different coefficient of viscosity, it is not going in the same way as that how water travels in the same container. Ghee and honey or having different fluids will have different coefficient of viscosity. What is coefficient of viscosity now? Coefficient of viscosity is the parameter associated with the fluid. Every fluid will have some coefficient of viscosity with that. Only three things you need to understand. Coefficient of viscosity. What is coefficient of viscosity? Coefficient of viscosity, we'll define it now properly, but the basic out, what is the meaning of coefficient of viscosity? Coefficient of viscosity is one of the parameter which decides what kind of fluid it is. Water, honey, oil, ghee, all these things are separated by means of one parameter. All of them appears to be same unless you touch them. All of these appears to be same. All appears to be in the form of soft water colors only, right? But what is that which is different for all these things? The things what is differing, the things what is making them to differ from each other is the parameter called as coefficient of viscosity. Is a basic thing clear? What is coefficient of viscosity? Coefficient of viscosity is a parameter associated with the, one second. Coefficient of viscosity is the parameter. Is this clear? Is the point clear? What is coefficient of viscosity? Coefficient of viscosity is a parameter associated with the fluid, which helps in understanding what kind of a fluid it is. Right. Vanilla says clear, sir. Right. Now, how exactly this is defined as? Coefficient of viscosity is defined as the ratio of stress to that of the strain rate. Coefficient of viscosity is defined as the ratio of stress to that of the strain rate. What is the strain rate and stress? We know stress is defined as force per area. Now, this is the definition of coefficient of viscosity. Coefficient of viscosity is defined as a ratio of stress to that of the strain rate. What is the strain rate? Strain divided by time. Strain rate is what? Rate at which strain is changing. Means, now how to understand this? How to understand this? Consider any fluid flowing in a container. Any fluid flowing in a container. Now what happens at the walls of the container? This fluid is going to get some kind of opposing force called as viscous force, but still the other surface which is not in contact tends to move like this. Because of that, it is now going to expand. It is going to get some kind of expansion in that container. Now this opposing force is going to act for some kind of short time interval. Opposing force is going to act for short time interval. Yes or no on the fluid? On the fluid, opposing force is going to act for short. Now opposing forces will always definitely create some strain. Upon a body, force is applied, pressure is created, that is causing stress, and that is also creating strain. Now we say like this: a fluid which is in the flow tube, which is flowing in the flow tube, will be having some kind of stress acting on that because of the opposing frictional force, opposing viscous force, and that strain will have some time associated with that. That rate at which strain taking place on that fluid is called as strain rate. It is called as what? Strain rate, or simply coefficient of viscosity is defined as a ratio of stress to the top of the strain rate. Stress we write in terms of force per unit area. Strain rate is delta L by L naught whole divided by delta T. Strain rate means what? Strain rate means strain by time. Is this point clear? What is strain rate? Is the concept clear? What is strain rate? When a fluid flows in a flow tube, opposingly there exists some kind of force creating some kind of stress, and that is results in strain. Every stress will result in strain, we know this already, and that strain what is acting on the body will act for some shorter time interval. For how long that strain is acting on the fluid is called as a strain rate. Stress is mathematically defined as force per unit area. Strain is mathematically defined as change of length by original length, because generally the flow tube is having length only, will not take volume and areas here, because dimension of the flow tube is taken in terms of a larger one, only that is having length terms factor, that is change of length by original length per unit time. Strain per unit time is called as strain rate. Strain per unit time is called as strain rate. Is this concept clear? This is now equals to F by A. Can you say that delta L by delta T is equals to V, velocity of the fluid? Delta L by delta T can be called as velocity, because change of length by change of time is velocity by L naught. Delta L by delta T is delta V, now L naught. Or by putting all this, I'm writing here, force per area, delta L by delta T divided by factor is there. This is divided by factor. Delta L by delta T is delta V, and L naught is as. Or by putting all these things, you can say that F L naught by A times of delta V. This is the formula for coefficient of viscosity. Only we should know formula. Only we should know formula, and the formula for that is, this is a formula for coefficient of viscosity. And in this formula you should know all the things: force acting on the fluid, initial dimension of the body where the fluid is moving, in the some dimension the fluid is moving, area of the container fluid. Now we take container to be something like this. This has got certain length, this has got certain radius, which gives rise to area, that is in the form of pi r square, right? Velocity, with what fluid, with what speed the fluid is moving in this, and force acting, how much is the viscous force or external force acting on the fluid for its flow. Is this concept clear? Formula for coefficient of viscosity is FL naught by A delta V. This formula you should remember. And most importantly, this is coefficient of viscosity is denoted by one specific symbol called as eta. What is the symbol called as? This symbol is called as eta. And coefficient of viscosity in SI system is expressed in terms of a unit called as Poiseuille. Poiseuille is the name of the scientist. SI unit of coefficient of viscosity is Poiseuille. Poiseulle, Poiseuille. SI unit of coefficient of viscosity is Poiseuille, and CGS unit, it is measured in terms of poise, short form of this. It is the name of the scientist. In CGS system, it is measured in terms of poise. This is all about the first factor of viscosities. The first factor of viscosity, this is the thing what you need to understand. Just check out whether you got all the things in this or not. Simple thing. 3 or 4 things you need to remember. That's it. Can I get some response from you now? There are 3 or 4 things to be understood from. 3 or 4 things you need to get from. First one, viscosity. First part is, this part is clear, completed. Can I get some responses from you? Able to hear me or not? No response. Yeah, clear. Just a brief, simple recap. Viscosity is the concept of having opposition on the free flow of fluid, usually from the walls of the container. That force what is acting on the fluid in the opposite direction for its free flow, or this is the opposing force acting on the fluid. In other words, viscous force is the opposing force acting on the fluid due to the walls of the container. Fluid tries to go in one direction, viscous force will be acting in the opposite direction. To remember, it is simple. Likewise, what a friction does in solids, same thing is been done by viscous force. Now, every fluid has one important parameter associated with that. That parameter associated with fluid is called as coefficient of viscosity, denoted by what letter? Coefficient of viscosity is denoted by the letter called as eta, like n expanded like this, eta. What it is called as eta. And how it is defined as? It is defined as stress per strain rate, stress by strain divided by time, and the formula of this will come out to be what form? Once you substitute all that, stress by strain rate, formula is going to be F L naught by A times of delta V. You should remember this formula. F L naught by A by delta V. Whereas in SI system, it is expressed in terms of Poiseuille. In CGS system, it is expressed in terms of poise. This is the name of the scientist. This first part. If you are clear with first part, let us now go ahead to the second part. Stokes law. Stokes law. Stokes law gives information about the drag force acting on the body. Acting on the drag force, acting on the fluid. What is this drag force? Now, earlier we have seen viscosity is a thing where a fluid is moving in a solid container. Flow tube is supposed to be solid. Flow tube is supposed to be a solid, and one liquid is moving in that solid. Accordingly, the force acting on the liquid due to the solid is viscous force. Is the point clear? Force acting on the liquid due to the solid is a viscous force. Now, Stokes law gives information about drag force, where drag force is a force acting on the fluid because of one more type of fluid, or force acting on a body because of fluid. What does it mean? Now, if you release a body in the air, if you drop a marble or a pen in the air, at the walls of that, at the borders of that object, some kind of opposing force because of air acts on that. Now, opposing force is given by what material? Opposing force is given by the fluid. That force, that opposing force acting on the fluid, on a body because of the fluid, is called as the drag force. What is the difference between viscous force and drag force? Viscous force is the opposing force given by the solid substance onto a fluid. Viscous force is the opposing force acting on a fluid due to the solid. Whereas drag force is what? Drag force is the opposing force acting on an object due to the fluid. Here it is due to the solid, here it is due to the fluid. Yes or no? Is the point clear? Drag force difference, viscous force, drag force. Viscous force, drag force. Is the point clear? Drag force. Stokes law gives information about the drag force. First point. What is this drag force? We define or we denote this drag force by means of F with subscript D. Clear? Very good, Nikita. What is this drag force? Drag force, we denote it by the letter F of D. What is drag force? Now I'm repeating. If you throw a body in air, or if some raindrops fall because of rains, Now, the walls of that body is acted upon by some kind of opposing force, that by the fluid or by the air, that opposing force. Now, if you jump into water, water is a fluid, that also gives some kind of opposing force onto that. That force we call it as buoyant force. Force given by the liquid is buoyant force. Force given by the air is called as drag force. Force given by the solid on a body is called as either frictional force or viscous force. This is a force given by the solid bodies. Either if it is on to the solid body, it is called frictional force. Solid to solid is frictional. Opposing force given by a solid onto a solid is frictional force. Opposing force on a fluid by a solid is called as viscous force. Opposing force on a solid by or on an object, we say it could be solid, it could be liquid, it could be anything. But if it is by a air, by the fluid air, then it is called as drag force. If opposing force acting on a body by the liquid, then it is called as buoyant force. See how many kinds of forces we are learning today. Clear? Drag force, viscous force, buoyant force. Is that drag force clear now? Drag force is the opposing force acting on the body given by the air. And Stokes' law gives information about this drag force. Usually, we release a body, frictional forces of air acts on that. Generally, we neglect that. In the previous classes of first chapter or second chapter, we neglected the action of frictional force on this body. A freely falling body is having negligible frictional force on that because of air. The drag force in that case is neglected. But in Stokes' law, we don't neglect that. We include that part also. We include that part also. Is the point clear? Drag force is the opposing force acting on the body because of the fluid in the form of a gas, air, is called as drag force. If you, the same thing goes, if an object releases in air, it gets a drag force. If the object releases in water, it gets a buoyant force. If I release a marble, if I release a stone in air, it gets drag force. If I release a stone in water, it gets the buoyant force. Right? Clear? Clear. And what this Stokes' law states that? Stokes' law states that, I'll write here. Stokes' law states that the net amount of drag force, I'll remove this part. Stokes' law states that the net amount of drag force acting on a body is found to be proportional to the velocity of the body with what speed it falls. First point, what it says, drag force acting on a body is always proportional to the velocity of the object. An object is falling with what speed? It falls with less speed, it gets less drag force. It falls with more speed. Now it's the same thing when you go on bike or on a vehicle in a, you're going to get some kind of opposing force on us. That is what, that the more speed you go, more opposition you're going to get. Drag force acting on a body is found to be proportional to the velocity of the fluid or the body, but in what direction? But in what direction? Always that in terms of opposite direction. It also says that drag force acting on a body is proportional to the radius of the object. Drag force acting on a body depends on two things. Drag force acting on a body depends on two things. What is that? It depends upon the velocity of the body. It also depends upon the dimension of the body. What A indicates the dimension of the body. He indicated that by dimension A. A indicates usually it could is like if a ball falls, it is going to have certain radius with that. A indicates radius of the body. If some kind of a body like this falls, then it is depending on the length of the body. Drag force depends on two important things. What are they? It depends upon the velocity of the body, but in opposite direction, and it depends upon the dimension of the body. Dimension of the body cannot have any specific sign. Dimension is always uniform. That is, throughout the body, it remains same. Accordingly, combining these two, you can now write an equation that drag force is proportional to product of A into B with a negative sign, dimension and velocity of the body. By removing out this proportionality symbol, he observed that drag force is getting some kind of a formula that drag force is equals to 6 pi eta times of A into V. Or one more thing is that I forgot this. Drag force also depends on coefficient of viscosity. It depends on three things. drag force acting on a body depends, he found that drag force on a body depends on these three things. What is that? It depends upon the velocity of the body, it depends upon the dimension of the body, it depends on what? It depends on eta. What is eta? What is eta? Eta is coefficient of viscosity. Means depending on the type of fluid, drag force depends. Yes or no? If you take water, it gets some kind of drag force. Water drop, when it is falling, it gets some kind of drag force. Solid material like marble or a stone falls, it gets some kind of drag force. It depends upon what this eta talks about. Eta talks about the type of material used. Is it a raindrop? Is it a water? Is it a marble? Is it a stone or any kind of anything present? Eta talks about the nature of material, type of material used. Now, putting all this in terms of mathematical form, he found that it is some proportionality symbol is found to be in the form of 6 pi eta times of AV. Drag force is given Stokes law. This is called as the equation for drag force given by Stokes law. What is called as Stokes law? Stokes law gives information or equation for the drag force. Drag force is given by the equation minus 6 pi times of eta AV. When you write equation, now he did some experiments, he removed that proportionality symbol, he found that proportionality symbol is replaced by some constant in the form of 6 pi. These things NAV is remaining same, but proportionality symbol is replaced by means of what sign? It is replaceable by some constant in the form of 6 into 5. Pi is 3.1422 by 7. You should know this equation from this class. As I told you, derivation of this is not in our context. It is beyond our context. It is in the next class or next higher classes. In this class, from Stokes law, you should know this information. What is that? Stokes law gives information about the drag force. You should know what a drag force is. And once we know what the drag force is, its equation is given by this form. The formula for drag force is given by this form. Whereas what are terms in this? The terms in this are 6 pi is a constant, eta is coefficient of viscosity, A is the dimension of the body, and V is the velocity of the object which is moving in the fluid. Is the point clear? Is this point clear about Stokes law? Stokes law is completed. That's it. That's the only thing what you need to understand from Stokes law. Stokes law gives information about drag force. Drag force is given by this kind of formula. Now, one more parameter we talk about for Stokes law is that terminal velocity. What is terminal velocity? Terminal velocity is the constant velocity possessed by the fluid when it is moving in a fluid itself. When in air, when some raindrops are falling. Simple thing, just get the concept, that's it. There is nothing much to worry about this formulas and all. Just terminal velocity is the constant velocity obtained by one kind of the object when moving in air. When object is moving in air, such as if a raindrop is falling. If a raindrop is falling from certain height, what happens? Will it have same constant speed throughout? Right from its origin till it hits the ground, will it have same speed? It started with rest. It started with rest and it falls with some velocity on the surface. Now what is happening between these two? Is it constant? Is it constant throughout? No. It usually gains for some time. Raindrop is starting here and hits. This is the sky. Raindrop is starting here and hits the earth surface. And hits the earth surface. Now when it is falling like this, what is happening? Initially it started with zero velocity. Now when initial velocity is less, it is going to get less amount of drag force. Initial velocity is less, it gets less amount of drag force. Velocity increased, drag force also increased. Drag force is acting in opposite direction. Velocity increased much more, drag force increased much. How long does this take place? This takes place only up to certain time, where velocity at some point of time, when these two are properly adjusting themselves, at some point of time velocity comes out to be constant. Velocity is changes for some time, but at some point of time these two adjust in such a way that depending upon the gravitational force acting on the body and upward force acting on the body, it slowly increases. Downward force increases, drag force also increases. Downward force is less, drag force is less. Downward force is more, drag force is more. Like that, these two will keep on changing, but at some point of time, these two will come to some kind of constant values. That velocity which is obtained constant after some time is called as the terminal velocity, final velocity with which the fluid comes out. It is not starting with maximum velocity, it starts with 0, increases, but after some time what happens, it reaches a constant value. That constant value obtained by the fluid when moving in the air is called as the terminal velocity. Only definition is important, not to bother. Only definition of terminal velocity is important, and formula for terminal velocity is given by, terminal velocity is 2 by 9 times of, only formula you should remember, 2 by 9 times of a square g minus rho, rho minus sigma by g, g by eta. Try to remember this formula. Terminal velocity depends on these things. This rho is the density of the fluid. One simple thing. Choose. You may find too many things in this. But what is that happening in this case? One object is moving in another fluid. Two things are moving, right? One is air, one object is moving. Yes or no? That object in motion will have some density with that. Fluid will have some density with that. These two are the densities. Let us suppose raindrop is moving in air. Raindrop will have some density. Air will have some density. What is this? These two are the densities of two things. One object is moving in the other, density of two things. That is air and water. If we say this, if I say stone is moving in air, this is the density of stone. This is the density of fluid. Moving in where? Moving in air, acted upon by acceleration due to gravity. That fluid, that object has got some coefficient of viscosity. That object also has got some radius. Depending on the radius, it can have some area also with that. Radius square gives rise to area. Terminal velocity depends upon area of the object. Terminal velocity depends upon area of the object. Depends upon the densities of both the things where it is moving. It depends upon the density of that itself and also where it is moving. If it is water, it is air, where it is moving. It also, that object will have some coefficient of viscosity with that and acceleration due to gravity. Just remember this formula. Terminal velocity is the maximum velocity obtained by the body during its free fall. Maximum constant velocity obtained by the body. Is this clear? It is no derivation of this is not there, and this continuity is not there. You should remember this formula. One thing, first formula is coefficient of viscosity FL naught by A delta B. One new formula. Drag force is minus 6 pi times of eta AV. Second formula. Minus 6 pi eta AV, where A is dimension, V is velocity of the fluid. And one more formula is terminal velocity given by 2 by 9 times of this formula. Should remember. They did some experiments, they are giving us formulas are like this. But you should know what the terms present in this formula. A is the area, A square is the area of the body. One is the density of object, density of fluid, acceleration due to gravity, and coefficient of viscosity. Means nature of the object present in the fluid is also important. This is concept of terminal velocity. Stokes law is clear. Stokes law and terminal velocity. These two things is one part. Viscosity and three things is one part. Stokes law and terminal velocity is one more part. Are these two parts clear? Or only formulas you'll get, you should remember that formulas. That's it, nothing else is there. You should know what is the meaning of terminal velocity, you should know. And formula for terminal velocity, you should know. Only why we need formulas, if at all any problem comes, we should be in a position to solve. That is the reason. We should know these formulas in order to solve some kind of numerical problems, like you are writing some quizzes, in that you are going to use these formulas. Once you write formula, make sure that you know everything in this formula. Don't write anything without knowing what things are there. You should know everything in this formula. You should know everything in this formula. Accordingly, then only the things will be accepted. So two things are clear. Now we are left with the third thing. We are left with the third and last final thing for today's class, that is called as Reynolds number. Reynolds number, denoted by the letter capital R. Reynolds number is given by the formula rho Vd by eta. Rho Vd by eta. Reynolds number is given by the formula what? It is given by the formula. Just one moment, just cross check this. Reynolds number is given by the formula rho v d by eta. Reynolds number. I'll just tell you what this formula is. Let us first let me just tell you the things in this. Rho is the density of the fluid. Rho is the density of the fluid. V is the velocity of the fluid itself here. In this case, earlier it was velocity of the object. Now in this case, velocity of the fluid. D is the dimension where the fluid is moving. And eta is the coefficient of viscosity. Now, why this formula is actually needed is that, see here, Reynolds number gives a formula to identify the type of flow of a fluid. What is the use of this Reynolds number? It gives information about the types of flow. What is type of flow? Types of flow. Types of flow can be steady, can be unsteady, or can be turbulent. Do we know all these things? Types of flow. Types of flow can be of Reynolds number gives some kind of formula to identify the types of flow. What are the types of flow? Types of flow can be steady, can be unsteady, and can be turbulent. Steady with parallel lines is laminar. Steady or laminar is one and the same in one simple form. Steady and laminar are one and the same in one simple form. Turbulent is non-laminar, not having parallel lines going in different directions. Now, Reynolds number gives some formula to identify the types of flow of a fluid, whether when liquid is flowing, when fluid is flowing in a container, in any container, when fluid is flowing, what kind of things, I mean, how to say whether that flow is a steady flow or unsteady flow or turbulent flow. What it says is that Reynolds number states that if the value of R comes out to be less than 1000, if the value of R comes out to be less than 1000, if R is less than 1000, if now remember, now we have a container where fluid is moving. That fluid we will have density with that. It now travels with some velocity. Now by using that Venturi meter, you can determine the velocity of a fluid. Yes or no? Venturi meter, you have seen this. D is the dimension of the flow tube where it is moving. Where a flow tube is moving, and you take some certain dimension for that flow tube. And eta is the coefficient of viscosity of the fluid. Every fluid has some kind of coefficient of viscosity value. Now substituting all this in this: density of the fluid, coefficient of viscosity of fluid, V of the fluid, and dimension of the fluid. Length, dimension here is length. D indicates dimension of the fluid. By substituting all this, if R value comes out to be 1000 or less than that, if R value comes out to be 1000 or less than that, what kind of flow it is going to be? It is going to be steady flow. Means if speed is less, you'll get R value less. If R value is larger than 2000, if R is more than 2000, then the fluid is said to be turbulent. R is less than 1000, R is less than 1000 steady, R is more than 2000, it is turbulent. And if R is in between 1000 and 2000, if it is more than 1000 and less than 2000, is my convention clear? Writing like this is clear. R should be in between 1000 to 2000. R should be more than 1000 and less than 2000. In that case, the flow is said to be unsteady. Clear, right? Is the concept clear? Reynolds number gives some kind of mathematical or empirical formula. There is no derivation needed for this. Reynolds number gives mathematical formula to identify the type of flow. And in this formula, we have density of the fluid, velocity of the fluid, dimension of the flow tube where it is moving, and coefficient of viscosity of the fluid. By substituting in this, if you get that value of R to be less than 1000, then the fluid is said, then the flow is said to be steady. If R is in between 1000 and 2000, then it is said to be unsteady. If it is more than 2000, then it is said to be turbulent. What does it mean? Now you can take the example of a tap to understand this. When you rotate the tap slowly, for some time it will be having steady flow. When you rotate the tap, water to come out slowly, initially it is going to be steady. At some point of time, what happens? Or if you rotate it fully, it becomes turbulent clearly. The moment you open the tap completely, water falls randomly in all different directions, then it is called as turbulent. Initially, slowly gives us to steady, and in between these it is going to turbulent. But then when is this unsteady state? Body has lost the steady nature, but not turbulent in nature. Means at some point of time, you will find that water comes out smoothly only, but with small disturbances at the edges. And what is that flow is called as unsteady. What is the difference between unsteady and turbulent? You should get this. Difference between unsteady and turbulent is what? Turbulent means all the molecules of water will go randomly in different directions, but here they go not in parallel, they go in the form of some bent path. Steady droplets will go parallel. Turbulent droplets will go in different directions, but in unsteady they comes parallel, but only with slight deviations like this. Hopefully you get this point. So what is that Reynolds number? Reynolds number is given by the formula rho Vt by T, and it talks about the type of flow in a flow tube. Flow can be determined, it gives three things like this. It says that if R value comes out to be less than 1000, it is called as turbulent, it is called as steady flow. If R is more than 1000, less than 2000, it is called as unsteady flow. If R is greater than 2000, then the flow is said to be turbulent. So this is all about today's lecture. So I'll just I think I have taken more time, but the thing is only three things we learned, but some new things like not known things in the form of things, basic concept methodologies, right? So I'll just stop recording now because we'll just conclude this session. We can have general discussion after this, right? 1 second.